So, this is a dangerous road. Or is it? It certainly looks the part, and if you were to search for England's most dangerous road, there's a good chance that this one would come up top of the list. But I put it to you that it's not dangerous at all, and in fact, most of the roads that we think are dangerous aren't. Let's discuss. My name is John. Welcome to Auto Shenanigans. Why not consider subscribing? The problem is that there isn't really a clear definition as to what makes a road dangerous. Is it the tight turns, elevation changes, blind corners, high speeds, or what looks most convincing on social media? Well, I think it's none of those, and the whole dangerous road thing can be boiled down to one simple thing. How many fatalities were there? If no one died, is it really that dangerous a road? It is a bit morbid perhaps, but surely it's the only metric that matters in terms of danger, so with that in mind, today I hope to locate England's most dangerous road. Which is why I'm in the Lake District. This is the Hardknott Pass, often touted as the country's most dangerous road. It's the closest thing we've got to a mountain pass, minus the mountains of course, and with its steep 1 in 3 gradient, it certainly offers a challenging drive, if only the motorhomes would stop giving it a go. The Hardknott Pass is a single-track road that runs for about 2.5 miles over Hardknott Fell, or hill, which isn't really that big at 549 metres high, and in any case the pass will only get you as high as 393 metres. Its steep gradient results in a series of hairpin bends that over winter, assuming the road isn't closed, can be problematic, whilst the road surface is generally shite with poor visibility and changeable weather conditions. It's so bad that Denise from Cheshunt cried and screamed her way along the pass, so clearly it's a dangerous road. But not really. Sure, it's a difficult drive for the likes of Denise, or Karen as we'll now call her, but the amount of fatal incidents on the pass are few and far between. In 2024, there were precisely 0 fatalities, and it's actually considered a rare occurrence, so whilst visually it looks dangerous, it turns out it isn't, and everyone on social media is lying. Another road that comes up time and time again when searching for the most dangerous road is the 8.5 mile section of the A537, which runs through the Peak District between Buxton and Macclesfield, also known as the Cat and Fiddle Road. At its highest point, you're at around 515 metres above sea level, surprisingly higher than the Hardknott Pass, although unlike Hardknott, which has a fairly low average speed, out here in the Peak District things are fairly open, so your average speeds tend to be higher. Don't get me wrong, there are still plenty of corners that will punt you off and down the hillside should you get it wrong, but the road is wider with 2 lanes, a better surface and proper road markings, so it shouldn't be much of a surprise that in places you're more likely to achieve the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. But on this occasion, does speed kill? Well, it's probably not helping. The road is very popular with motorcyclists, the type that like to dress up in sponsor-branded leathers and take their Kawasaki Hayabusa Blade 2000 for a joyride on a Sunday afternoon, which is the perfect recipe for disaster, so surely the A537 is the most dangerous road. It's not perfect, but it's also not even close to being the most dangerous. In 2024, there was 1 recorded fatality on the road, which is definitely more than the Hardknott Pass, but it's still quite a way off what I would consider dangerous, so crack on guys, just watch out for the bikers. Okay, fair enough then, a twisty countryside road doesn't necessarily equal instant death, but what about motorways? As we all know, speed kills, and on the Hardknott Pass, you'll struggle to do more than 6 miles an hour as you get stuck behind a cyclist or a motorhome, whereas here on the motorway you can reach the shocking speeds of up to 70 miles an hour. And I suppose it makes sense. Higher speeds equals more danger, death and destruction. Won't somebody please think of the children? But jokes aside, surely we're looking at one of the most dangerous roads in the country. Not really, no. In 2024, there were 1,602 fatalities on our roads. How many of those do you think happened on the motorways? Have a guess and put it in the comments. Might as well subscribe whilst you're there. But anyway, there were 91 fatalities across the entire 2,500 mile motorway network, 8 of which occurred on the M6, which is definitely some, but not as some as others, therefore it can't be considered dangerous, although it is more dangerous than the Cat and Fiddle, so call it mid-range dangerous. Moving on, and the next 2 roads we're looking at one stage may well have been the most dangerous roads in the country. However, they've since been surpassed by an unexpected contender, which we'll get to in a moment, because for now, this is the A6. It's one of the longest roads in the country, and before the motorways were a thing, it would have been used by pretty much everyone to get around England. It's mostly a single carriageway 2-lane road that, when compared to the likes of the Hardknott Pass, you'd be forgiven for thinking is less dangerous, but that's not the case, because in 2024 there were 10 recorded fatalities on the A6, which means it's more dangerous than the M6, A537 and the Hardknott Pass combined. The problem with the A6 and roads like it is that whilst they're built with a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit, they tend to feature lots of hidden entrances, lay-bys or side roads where something like a slow-moving tractor can misjudge your closing speed and pull out on you, giving you three options: crash into the tractor, crash into the oncoming traffic avoiding the tractor, or crash into the ditch avoiding both oncoming traffic and the tractor. The choice is yours. And if you don't fancy that, nature will be doing its best to write off you and your motor vehicle. Slamming into a deer at 60 isn't going to end well, and the A6 has very little in place to prevent that from happening, which is why it is a legit dangerous road and not one for show. And it's a similar story here on the A1, where at first glance you'd think there's nothing wrong with it, but with 11 fatalities in 2024, it's today's second most dangerous road. As you can see, it's a dual carriageway. Great, but this is a dual carriageway of yesteryear design, built at a time when safety wasn't really a thing. Not so great. The major design flaw is where you've got smaller joining roads just bolted onto the side of the main carriageway. If you want to turn right, you've got to first cross over 2 lanes of high-speed traffic and then somehow merge into 2 lanes of high-speed traffic. This design of junction has proven to be the most dangerous time and time again, and this is why a lot of them are currently under review with plans to carry out safety upgrades, whatever that means. Doesn't matter, we don't have the money for such things anyway, and until we do, the A1 will remain very nearly at the top of the list, second to our unexpected contender. Based on 2024 data and at least 37 minutes of research, I've found the road with the highest number of fatalities, which means it is the most dangerous, and I'm willing to bet that some of you have never heard of it. Welcome to Norfolk. What we're looking at here is the A47, England's most dangerous road, and that's based on 13 fatalities in 2024, the most on any road that I could find. You'll notice that it's all a bit flat around here and that the road is perfectly straight, yet this short section of the 170-mile-long A47 is one of its most notorious, having seen hundreds of accidents over the years. The problem is that if circumstances were to arise where one needs to take evasive action, you've little choice but to stick it in a drainage ditch, no doubt drowning in the process. And if that doesn't get you, overtaking a slower car will, because as you cane it past them, the road surface will change dramatically, unsettling the car and sticking you into a drainage ditch where you'll no doubt drown in the process. The only way to avoid the ditch thing is to have a huge head-on collision, which seems to happen quite a lot. Elsewhere on the A47, it's got similar issues to that of the A6, where it's mostly a single carriageway road with many dangerous hazards willing to throw themselves in your way, almost certainly resulting in your unalivement. So what have we learned? Well, it's a classic life lesson, I think, where looks can be deceiving. Whilst these appear to be the most terrifying, death-inducing roads that you can drive on, it's just clickbait. The numbers tell a very different story. And this means if you're looking for the country's most dangerous road, you need to take a drive along the calm, quiet and unassuming A47 that, like the A1 and the A6 and many other A roads, will be the one that gets you because you weren't expecting it. But you know now, so try to be ready for it. And drive safe, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.